All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Charles with Tucker Tactical, and again, this is Tactical Tuesday Talks. Today's episode is episode 11. We're going to be talking about bug in or bug out, and which one and why you would choose that. So first, let's start off by just let's do a little bit of I guess house cleaning. This is what they're calling it. I'm new to this. All right. Press is up and running. I finally got that fixed. Holsters are back into production. We are getting back caught up on lead time. We should be fully caught up by the end of the week. So that's good. As long as this press keeps holds together better than the last one, then we'll be on track for that. Next thing coming up in April. I don't have anything coming up in April. Gun shows didn't work out this month, so I won't be at too many gun shows this month. I'm going to try, but fortunately I'll be just hanging out in the shop this month. So tonight's topic, bug in or bug out. What is bug out? And then what is bug in? That might be a new term for some people, is bugging in. So bug out is a very popular term. People use it. I think a lot of the preppers and other companies are making packs and bags and kits have really just like marketed on this. And bug out mainly is like government collapse, insurrection, invasion, something like that. And you've got to pack up and get out of your house, but you don't have time to gather all your belongings like you would think. So you have a bug out bag, a bag that is packed, ready to go. You just grab it and you're gone. Very light, very quick. Bug out is essentially, typically it's a short, not a long-term survival thing. It's just you're getting out and you're getting off the X essentially, and your X being your home or your town or wherever you may be. Bugging out doesn't always necessarily mean from your home. It could be you're out in public or out in traffic and something happens and you need to bug out from that area. Essentially, a bug out is just getting off the X, if you're familiar with that term. You're getting out of town, you're getting out of the woods, you're getting somewhere secluded, you're getting away from people or wherever the incident may be. So what are you going to want in that bag if you're bugging out? I have one this is just like an everyday bag. Now your everyday bag, your EDC bag that goes with you everywhere. This is mine. This bag goes with me everywhere. It always has the same essential stuff in it. Sometimes I pack things for that day or that trip, that event. But this essentially has everything in it for my bug out. It is kind of light. I need to go through this more. Because a lot of the things that I actually have on this list, I'm not going to lie, I don't have in my bug out bag. And I should. So what I think you should have in your bug out bag are the key essentials. And don't be going crazy with it, because you do want this pack to be somewhat lightweight. It is a grab and go bag. Bug out is going to be a grab and go situation. So first and foremost, in my opinion, it's going to be first aid. That's like the first thing that you have. I do have a little boo-boo kit in here. I don't have trauma in here. I'm a little stuffy too, so if I sound nasally, I'm not going through puberty again. I do have some boo-boo kits in here, but I don't have like full-on medical. And that's one of the things I need to update. I have the supplies. I just need to make little individual IFAC refill kits and get them in there. Lights and batteries. You don't know what time of day it's going to be when you're having to bug out. So it could be, 0 dark 30, you don't know, and then you got to be able to see where you're going. So I recommend headlamps and handhelds, because there might be some times where you need to go hands-free. So headlamps are a key. Making sure you have batteries for all of them. Good idea with headlamps and other things is if you know you're keeping it in there, it may behoove of you to not store your lights with the batteries in it, just in case of accidental discharge of the batteries and you go to use your light and it doesn't work. Yes, it may be a little bit longer for you to go ahead and get your flashlight out, but that's why a lot of us usually carry one in our pocket. That's being used and batteries are being changed very often. But I would keep your batteries separate. That way they don't discharge you. You know that they're going to be good. Have a good carrying case that you can keep them all contained and know exactly where they're going to be. I put them in a top or front pouch so at night I can get to them, and if I have to blindly at night put batteries in them, I can do so. Food and water. Keep your food and water to a minimum. And I say that just because depending on the food that you're putting in there. Obviously, you grab an MRE or something like that and throw that in there. Some dry foods, throw it in there. Something that has a long shelf life that you can stick in your bag that's not going to spoil. So you want something that's not really a perishable food, but that's going to help sustain you for a couple of days out in the woods or on the road. Same with water. Water, depending on the container, will go bad eventually. Maybe just put some iodine tablets and water purification tablets, or like a life straw. I have a life straw in mine. So that way you can get fresh water, and then learn those techniques of getting and collecting fresh water on the go is a great skill to have. That's something that I need to practice more of. I understand the idea and concept, and I have done it. Like filtering spring water out, but not so much using iodine tablets and having to like purify the water or making, in the field charcoal filters. So those are great skills to know how to use in a bug out situation. Clothing. I wouldn't really say pack yourself like a whole overnight bag with spare clothes head to toe, but your clothing might get dirty, messed up, stinky, whatever. A pair of socks. Yeah. Gorman will tell you, change your socks, drink some water, take some ibuprofen. It'll be good. Well, they're not wrong in a sense. Your feet are pretty important when you're going to be on the move. So you want to take care of your feet, especially if you're going to be on them moving and walking everywhere you go, because you're going to be on foot. So take care of your feet. Maybe having some moleskin in there, because if you don't have good shoes, you never know what situation you're in, what kind of shoes you're going to be in. You could get blisters. So moleskin is great, and blister care and things like that. Having a small compact shelter, or the ability to make one on the fly in the field, like a bushcraft shelter. There is small, little, compact, little shelters that are really inexpensive, and they don't take up a lot of space in your bag, and they provide enough shelter. Just a small little canopy teepee. They can also be used as a sleeping system. Especially if it's raining out or snowing, that's a good thing to have. How's it going, Sully? So, what else besides a shelter? What can we think? Having a knife. But not a pocket knife. I'm talking like an actual fixed blade, like I have here. I have my SOG Seal Pup. Is this the most ideal bushcraft knife? No, this is not a bushcraft knife per se. Have I used it for bushcraft? Yes, it does actually quite well. You can see I've already taken the finish off from striking it for making fires. I've made kindling with it. I've used this for bushcraft stuff. It does work. It's not designed for it. It's designed for another purpose, but I think most knives are dual purpose. Making a shelter on the fly, lean-tos and things like that. When your shelters is another complicated thing, but you can survive just tunneling through in the snow if it's deep enough, and you can make a snow shelter and stay pretty toasty in the winter. Fire kit. That is actually not in this one. It's in one of my other many packs that I have. I think I have to put it in this one. But I've got a few different packs. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 packs. 5 packs just out here. I have a few more packs inside. I've got a lot of packs, and I've been kind of rotating through. But having a fire kit, I use got it for my brother-in-law. It's a expedition pouches, and I love those things. They make great fire kits. I even put a patch on it so it's identifiable. So this is my fire kit. Has everything in it that I need to make a fire. Signals and comms. So having like maybe a mirror, SOS light, radio. You can get real compact little wind-up flashlights if you don't want to worry about batteries. But some way to communicate. Your cell phone. Maybe you're in an invasion type of situation or a government meltdown, and cell phone towers have been kinked. You have no communication at all. Do you have backup communication? Do you have FRS radios, GRMS radios? Do you have just short range radios if you're close to home? Do you have that capability? Do you have that infrastructure even set up? Because having that gear, I have battle fighting radios, and I don't have the infrastructure for them. I use them for when I go out to ranges that I can use them at. But if you don't have infrastructure, repeaters, transmitters, and you don't have a ham license, well, in that situation, who cares about a ham license? But if you don't have that infrastructure and the skill on how to program and use a radio, it's really just a hunk of added weight that you're not going to be able to use. At best, what you can use your Baofeng for, is you can use that as your radio for emergency stuff, because you could tune into local radio stations with them, or local emergency stuff where you can at least listen in and see like what's going on. So have some type of communications. Your cell phone is obviously going to be your primary, but your cell phone is not always going to be your best bet, depending on the situation, or depending on what happened. Maybe your cell phone's lost or broken. So have an alternative way to communicate. Now we're going to go into like, well, let's say 550 cord and tape is another thing. Now it kind of goes into like building your shelter and other things, but 550 cord, I buy it by the spool if I don't acquire it for free. And electrical tape is my number one. I like that the best to be in my kit. It's the easiest to use and quite strong. But 550 cord and tape can go a long way in your bug out kit for field survival stuff. You can use that for making field expedient tourniquets. You can make patch wounds. You can tie stuff together, bind stuff together. It's a great tool to have. I recommend everybody have at least some. I will say there's not a pack that I have that doesn't have at least a spool of electrical tape and a good binding of daisy chain 550 cord. Next is going to be protection, your blaster. What blaster is going to go in your bug out bag? That is a big topic. A lot of people ask, well, what gun is the best bug out gun? Which one do you want? Well, mine's probably going to be my everyday carry because it's going to be on my body. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to pack out my bug out bag with just spare magazines for it, because my gun's going to be on my body. In the case that it's not, for whatever reason, I have plans to buy a cheaper, expensive firearm that goes specifically for that bag, because that's all it's going to do is sit in that bag, and it's a backup gun. That's in case I'm in my birthday suit and I got to get up and go and I don't have my everyday carry, and I've got to go grab it, and I'm going to have a cheap gun that's in there that'll work. What kind of gun? What am I going to use it for? I'm going to use it for some type of personal protection, yes. But out there, depending on how long I'm going to be bugged out for, I want this firearm, this what I'm going to be using it for. Primary use is going to be personal protection. Secondary is going to be I need to eat, and if I ran out of food supply, and I need to eat, I need to be able to hunt. So if I don't have the bushcraft skills to set up traps and snares, which you should learn, you can grab a little booklet, you can put it in that pack. You can learn on the fly. You're going to have plenty of time while you're bugging out to read through a book and practice making some snares and traps. Or a small little compact fishing line, even if it's just a little spool of fish, a hook and line, you can tie it to a stick. If you're by a water source, you can fish. But if you've got to hunt, what's going to be best? Well, if you take a 5.56 pistol, you can hunt with it. Is it going to be ideal? Probably not. Still good for defense though. 9mm. Is it going to be ideal for defense? Probably. Is it going to be good for hunting? Maybe not out of a handgun. If you use a PCC, maybe you'll be able to be more accurate. And it all depends on the cartridge. I won't get into that. 22. A lot of people think that, well, 22 is your best bug out caliber. Just get a nice little compact 22. You can get a takedown 22 rifle and throw that in there. A Henry Survival, Ruger 1022. There's a couple other folding 22s that are great for hunting. They're quiet. You can hold lots of ammo for not a whole lot of weight. That's the other thing to consider is I've got to have ammo for this firearm, and this ammo is going to weigh me down. It's going to be a lot of ammo. So whatever is going to be maybe the lightest and easiest to carry ammo with. And that's going to be all user preference. I'll maybe depend on your area too. Where I'm at, I would say 9mm at 22 would probably be my best bet. Because I can hunt just about anything up here. I can kill anything with 22. And at that point, I don't care about legalities. I'm just surviving. In 22, I can carry a lot of 22. I can make it quiet. And it's pretty efficient and pretty effective if I had to take care of a two-legged threat. So take those into consideration if that's going to be the gun that stays in your bug out bag, or if it's going to be just your EDC, depending on your situation. If it's going to be your truck gun or whatever it may be. So kind of size-wise, this is my main bag, right? This is how big it is. It is expandable. It's got lots of pouches, lots of storage. It does have kind of like a harder shell. This is from Full Force Gear. It does have a harder padded shell backer, and it does have a waist strap. It's kind of just like a generic, like tactical looking backpack, right? Nothing too special and fancy about it. Fairly inexpensive and holds everything I need, and it's really comfortable to wear. That's really about all I need to do. I'm not going to go through and empty out the contents of it because I'm not going to go through that. Another one is like a sling style bag. I got this for like really cheap at Walmart. This is a range bag, but again, still another tactical-ish looking bag, but kind of high vis. Less storage, kind of. Kind of just quick and easy to grab. This is more of a smaller bag. I would say this is a decent bag to have as a bug out. This is kind of what you would typically see as a bug out bag, or something like this. One of the things to consider with it is, do you want it to be a tactical bag? Do you want it to be a gray man's pack? This is a bad example of gray man, but this kind of bridges the gap. This is just a hunting pack. This is a really cheap, like $15, maybe $20 redhead from Cabela's. Really simple. Hunting backpack, pretty generic. Doesn't scream tactical. It does scream I'm a hunter, which I kind of maybe one of the same, but this is a really simple, quick backpack. Not very comfortable, but it does the job. I've got two main compartments and one large compartment. I can fit quite a bit of stuff in here. So I have like my jump oil and some water. That's kind of an option. JanSports, any like generic bag from Walmart, something that just is going to blend in. So that way, if you had to grab the bag and you had to throw like a cheap jacket in there, so you can kind of just go gray man, blend in. And if you had to bug out in a city type of scenario, that would be an option. So what about bugging in? Well, before we get into that, I'm sorry, I'm jumping too far ahead. I want to bug out with a family now. That was bugging out with an individual. Solo, maybe two, mainly a solo. And that's really kind of where it's easy. This is where it gets difficult. Now you're bugging out with a family. Not even just your wife, your spouse, or whatever, but like kids. Very difficult situation, right? Hard. So what I have done is I have went to Cabela's again, and I got a duffel bag. And this is kind of like a bug out, but it's also an emergency overnight bag. Ugh. So I have this big old thing from Cabela's. It's their duffel bag, and $20. I have everything I need on that list and more. This is for my entire family. So I keep this in the main vehicle. So if we ever get stranded somewhere overnight, whatever it may be, I've got everything that I need in here. And I will go through this bag real quick with you. Not extensively. Top, first thing I open up is chem lights and a flashlight. And yes, the batteries are in this one because this is like super cheap and I don't care. If it discharges, I've got backups in here. I also have a poncho. So I have quick essentials on top. Real basic, right? Open up your main flap and I have a wool emergency blanket. So I have got one of those. I also have another one of these in every vehicle. This is actually big enough. I think it's like 48 by 48. It's bigger than that. It's big enough to where I could wrap it around all my kids, at least. And all my kids can have a nice wool blanket to stay warm. And then in here, I've just got toiletry bags and spare clothes for everybody. This is basically just an overnight gym bag, right? So I've got everything for the season. So it's about time where I start swapping out all the hoodies and stuff in here. I might actually still keep the hoodies in there because sometimes at night it does stay, it can be cold. But it's just got everything overnight for toiletries, diapers, and wipes, all that stuff that you need in the main compartment. Nothing too crazy in there. On the sides, I do have so there's 550 cord. I got a whole pack of matches, all my batteries that are in bags to keep dry. I have some dry wood for kindling. I've got a multi-tool, some more medical tape. I think I do have a pretty extensive medical kit in this bag as well. And again, this is for the whole family. So that's why it's so much bigger. This is still not that big though. Like I said, it's the size of like a gym duffel bag. I could very easily throw this over my shoulder if I had to. But this is not ideal for like going out in the woods. I will say that this is not designed for that. That's not what my intention was. On the side here, you got medical, high-vis stuff, hand warmers, gloves for everybody, hats for everybody. And then the front pouch, go into that. I have some pens, markers, tools, battery packs, some other little miscellaneous tools, wrenches, screwdrivers, things like that, in case whatever those come in use for. And last pouch here is, I got dog food for our dog, some cups. This is a great thing. So one of the comments I had on TikTok, I'm actually going to start doing is I'm going to start building out what I think would be the best for your emergency medical kit. And this is going to be one of the things that my sister and brother-in-law introduced to me, and it has saved me a couple times because I'm not diabetic, but I have it in my family, and I get these like I didn't eat, and I get super shaky. But man, if you get like that, and then you need to eat, and you start getting shaky. This glucose SOS stuff, you just rip it open, dump it in. This has kept me going. A great thing to have. I will be adding those into those little medical kits. Anyway, so that is the family bug out bag. I do have some water and stuff in there too. Like I said, that is for family. That's a lot of stuff. A little bit harder to get out and bug out when you got, kids. But now we're going to go talk about bugging in. So I'll check my notes here, make sure I got everything on bugging out. Yeah, I think so. So when to bug in. So what is bug in? Bugging in is staying put. Obviously, you're not bugging out, you're staying put. In my house, I've got safe areas. I've got all my equipment, my gear, my food, everything that I need here to survive. I built my house, my home to survive in it, right? I'm living in it. If the situation dictates that I'm going to, hold up in place, then I want to bug in. I want to secure my domain, my castle. I want to protect this. So there's tricks and tips to home safety. You can do as you will with that. I have certain things that I would do. Obviously, there's certain things like shutting blinds, shutting off lights, having motion detector lights that are not at the house but out past it, so you can see. I can see the road from my living room, so I'm like in the country, not in the country. I can see people coming from quite a ways away. I do have a nice big field that if I had to then bug out, I could. Anyway, what is the difference between like what you're going to pack away or what you're going to keep staged? So safe rooms. So in the CPL class, and the CPL instructors probably talk to you about having a safe room in your house that you go to in case of an intruder. Same kind of concept. I have a designated area inside of the house or the property that has my arsenal, my ammo, my food, my water storage that is safe and easy to protect. And that's what you're going to do when you bug in. Situation might dictate, obviously, if it's an insurrection or invasion, depending on how it is, you might be safer in your home if you go out, especially if you got kids. If you got kids, I'm going to tell you this right now, in my opinion, it's probably safer for you just to stay in your house because, one, keeping kids quiet at night when they need to be quiet, if you know, doesn't work. And it's just keeping them alive and surviving is just more stressful, and it'd be easier just to hunker down in place. And I'd rather lose a lot of sleep and be up on watch and stay in our home and protect our house, protect the home. But you have, that's the biggest thing with bugging in is you have added level of security, comforts, and depending on how you're set up, you're going to have more equipment because then you don't have to put it in a small bag and run off with it, right? Or have that thing turned off on me before. So, bug in versus bug out. What would you do? Situation dictates, right? That's what always is going to come down to is the situation is going to dictate if you're going to bug in or bug out. If it's just me out and about, I'm bugging out. But my bug out plan is to get home. So I'm going to try to bug out to bug in, right? That makes sense? So this pack that I have is to get, another word for it would be get home bag, right? My bug out bag for when I'm out and about. This is trying to get me home. I'm just trying to get back here. So, however, I need to pack this out to where I can, if I have got to walk through the woods to get here, I need to be able to survive in the woods for a couple of days, because wherever I'm at, it's going to take quite a while to get here. Other considerations, I guess, would be the type of the reason why. I mean, if you got red parachutes thrown to the sky, well, you know what to do. If it's just going to be like a natural disaster kind of situation, where you're not really dealing with an actual threat, more just natural disaster, it's a bit different mindset. Like, we just had a couple tornadoes roll through, and people that were stuck on the side of the road, or the ice storms they had in northern Michigan. Having a bug out pack, or a pack like this, is going to be crucial. If you even just were stuck in an ice storm or a tornado on the side of the road, it doesn't always have to be a violent threat that's causing you to bug out or bug in. It could just be a natural disaster. Think about all those people down south in the hurricane. They had to bug out. You couldn't take everything. You had to grab what was essential, and you had to leave your home, and then you had to find some place on the fly to survive. So hopefully those people had the skills and knowledge of having some type of bag packed, ready to go, because they are in a hurricane zone, or if you're in a tornado alley, having bags packed for emergencies. This big family bag is just an emergency pack. It's just, we get stranded on the side of the road, or there's a bad storm, this goes, and I know that I can survive for 2 or 3 days, because I've got enough food and water and clothing for the whole family for us to live off of for 2 to 3 days. I think that just about covers it. Hopefully we never have to get to the opportunity to have to bug out. Even though it's kind of fun. I know me and my brother-in-law will go out, and we'll kind of do, like, we won't full bug out. We're planning to. We're going to do it. But we'll just go get lost in the woods and build a fire, and we're going to, one of the things we both, he might be more proficient than me, but learning how to make, I know he's actually more proficient than me, but making snares and traps. But going out and actually doing it with, not snares and traps that we took out to the woods, actually making them field expedient snares and traps. That's a whole different ballgame. Good skill set to have, especially if you're going to be the leader of your pack, guys out there. That, you got to protect your family, and that's a skill that you need to hone in on, and make sure that in this situation, when that happens, everybody's going to be looking to you for all sorts of advice, and to know what to do and where to go next. So make sure that you're training hard, making sure that you're practicing and learning these skills and honing them. And remember that once you learn a skill, it doesn't mean that you got it for life. It's not always like riding a bike. Some of these skills are perishable. All right. So keep practicing on them, keep training. That is it for tonight on bugging in and bugging out. I hope that the information that was shared will help you to load out your pack with maybe some new things you didn't think about before, and now you're thinking about them, and you're going to go home and you're going to sit there and you're going to rethink your bug out pack, or make your first bug out bag. If you have any questions, always feel free to message us. I'm not a professional bug out, but I know a thing or two about packing out a pack. So with that being said, we will catch you guys next week. Same time, same date for Tactical Tuesdays, episode 12, where we are going to be talking about something. And I can never have it planned out a week enough ahead of time. I will probably give you guys a post. I'll figure it out, and I'll post it tomorrow what next week's episode is going to be. I promise you that. All right. Everyone, take care. Carry with confidence.